Alright, so we did a protein rest for 30 minutes at about 148 degrees, which basically means we just let it sit a little bit longer. Then we added some more boiling water to bring it up to 153 degrees, which now it's sat in here from 130 and it's 235 right now, so that's perfect. So we're going to begin what's called vorlaughing, which basically means we're going to try to clog those little tubes I showed you earlier. We're going to turn this on just a little bit. Just let it barely drain out of there. We're going to do this many times. The solution that's coming out is going to be really, really thick and rich with sugars, but there's also going to be a lot of husks in there, and we don't want to boil the husks because that'll taste like crap. And introduce tannins, as they're called. We're already stuck. So this is the boring part. We do this for 15 to 20 times. Super kind of sucks, actually. But as we drain it, then we'll reintroduce it to the mash tun. I had to open it a little bit more. Seems like a decent flow, right?
Absolutely.
You can't really see, but
Especially
there.
at first, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of husk floating in there. You just can't really see too well with this camera. I'm using my iPhone. Now, if we open this back up. Slowly get that all out of there and recirculated and recycled, and we'll let it sit for 10 more minutes, and then we will introduce some more water to rinse off all the sugars, and we'll come back to that when it's time. Just so you can get an idea of what this means, I'm going to have Joe do it right now, quick. So let's shut this guy off. Normally we'd let this fill up a little bit more, halfway or so. The technique is not to disturb the grain bed, because we're trying to clog those little slits in the PVC on purpose, so that way the husks don't come through and only the clear wort, as it's called. So we're going to be very careful and just kind of spread the liquid back into there, and see, he's being careful and doesn't really disrupt the grain bed, and it'll stay settled, and we're going to do this, like I said, 15 to 20 times until it comes out, or until it comes out clear and there's no more husks floating, essentially. Alright. Alright, we're sparging right now. Basically, we're collecting the water that was in there. It's now called wort. And Joe's introducing 170 degree clear water that will rinse any remaining sugars off. And then it'll slowly drain out into the pot. And we'll do that with about 5 gallons or so.
Keeping our 2 inches of water.
Keeping 2 inches on top of the grain bed. So hopefully we're adding as much water as we're taking out. We'll kind of adjust the valve to do that, but it's just a rule of thumb to try to keep 2 inches above there so it doesn't disrupt the grain bed again, because now it's nice and clogged and everything coming out is clear. And then we'll move it to the burner. Fire up for an hour and call it a day. Basically, we just have a bucket that's full of the water that we heated up earlier. And then Joe's actually using a technique where we just, there's a little ridge inside of the cooler. We just kind of run the front of the bucket here, or the milk jug, whatever, onto it, disperses the water pretty evenly. It's kind of sweet. It smells good. Makes me need to take a leak too, I hate that.
It's like, how can you not pee in the shower? Is there anybody that doesn't honestly pee in the shower?
I don't know, people. Is there anybody that doesn't pee in the shower?
That's on video.
Let's put some music on it.
YouTube has an automatic editor, don't they? When you upload your videos? I think
No
they
idea.
do. You can cut your own videos on YouTube itself.
Oh. And while you're brewing beer, you should always be enjoying a beer. I currently don't have any home brews ready, but I'm enjoying the next best thing. Nice Sam Adams Boston Lager. Tell ya, good stuff. All right, so we're gonna wait for this to catch up, and yeah, cool.
Same thing.
Very cool. Very cool. Brewing beer is great. Fun. Oh, and to make all this beer, cost me less than $12. $12, 5 gallons of beer. You tell me. It's actually a cream ale. Pretty sweet.
Hey man, that's as cheap as Milwaukee's best.
Oh yeah, for 5 gallons.
Yeah.
Woo. All right.
Ooh, that's looking nice and clean.
I really gotta take a leak. All right, so I just dumped out the grain. I just forgot to videotape it. It's not like it's a big deal, but you just get rid of it and whatever. I live by a field, so it kind of goes away, and all the squirrels and crap will come eat it. So it's good for them in the winter. But otherwise, time being, where it's inside boiling, we just added our hop addition to it, and this recipe only calls for 1. I run go get another propane because I ran out, but the last one I had lasted 6 brews, start to finish, plus I used it to warm the garage a number of times. Got a little chilly, but here's what we got. About 6.5 gallons in there. I have a hop bag, so I put the hops inside of the bag so it doesn't get all over. You don't have to worry about straining it out later. Pretty nifty. Otherwise, it's kind of a pain in the ass to brew because there's a lot of cleanup, there's a lot of prep, a lot of in between. That baby's out now and drying, and that was merely just a table cooler. But yeah, like I said, it's a cream ale. Called for a 1 ounce of cluster pellet hops at 60 minutes, which means at the start of the boil. That'll be purely for bittering, so it won't have any like hop aroma, fruity tones, anything like that. It's just there to counter the alcohol. So yeah, we'll do this for an hour and then check back when it's time to add some more ingredients and get the wort chiller in there, and then we'll chill her out, and yeah. Alright, so what I'm doing now is sterilizing my bucket. And by that I'm just adding hot water to a bucket, putting some of this no rinse cleaner in here, sterilize the bucket, and this is what we'll put our unfermented wort into. And it'll sit in there with the cap on. Put an airlock in here, and then it'll bubble for a few days, and then it'll be done and transfer to secondary if we want to, or we put it in the kegs or bottles.